Hello and welcome to the Local Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Johnson. The Local Leaders Podcast provides a platform for successful business owners to share their stories, their experiences, their advice, and their ideas in order to help our listeners achieve more success in their business and in their lives. Get ready, another great show is coming up. Hey, good morning, everyone. It's a lovely Monday, January 24th, and welcome to another episode of the Local Leaders Podcast. I am your host, Jeff Johnson, and I am super excited to be here today with someone not too far away from my North Carolina location. I've got Bob Roberts of Redwood Smoke Shack on today. Welcome to the podcast, Bob.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jeff.
Hey, we are, like I said, I'm really excited to have you and to get a chance to kind of learn from you about Redwood and the business itself, kind of what you've been doing, what you plan to do and all that. And of course, the goal of our show is to always to help our listeners in any way that we can by providing ideas and insights and strategies and different things that successful folks like yourself, Bob, have done. So looking forward to it. I'd love to just kind of launch out and let you share with our listeners a little bit about your business.
Okay. So Redwood Smoke Shack is a barbecue restaurant. We started back in 2017 with a food truck, but it started many years prior to that with just doing some barbecue in my backyard. While I was home brewing beer, and I would have a bunch of friends over, brewing beer, and that takes 5-6 hours to do. So I figured, hey, we need some food. So I found a little smoker on Craigslist, and I bought it because, again, it was about the process. And same thing with craft brewing is that it's a long process. It may take 5 hours to actually brew the beer, but then it takes another week to 2 weeks for that beer to finish. So barbecue was kind of that same thing where it was a long drawn out process. And that's kind of what I enjoyed about it. So, I was at the time when I started barbecue, I was a food service director for a local university here at Norfolk State University. And I worked for a hospitality company, Thompson Hospitality. And again, this was just something I could do on the weekends, get together with some friends. That was part of my barbecue or my brewing club. Mm-hmm. And we can just have some beers and, shoot the breeze and kind of disconnect from normal everyday life. And what I found was the barbecue started overtaking the homebrew hobby. And, a small $60 smoker on Craigslist turned into my friend and I building a large pig pit. And then we started doing some luau's once a year at my house. And it just kind of snowballed from there. We got to the point where with tax returns one year, because again, working a 9-to-5 or actually, food service director, you're working 16 hours a day. Mm-hmm. You're not making a whole lot of money. So when tax returns came around and I was fortunate to get some money back, I found a larger smoker that, again, on Craigslist, and it was local, but it was $1,500, but it was a toe behind smoker. And I said, okay, cool. I'll buy that. And it would, hopefully allow me to do a little bit more. Well, when I actually went and got it, I realized how much larger it was. And I was like, oh boy, now what do I do? So when I got home, I'm like, one pork butt on here just doesn't really do it justice. So I told my girlfriend at the time, hey, I'm going to go to Restaurant Depot and I'm going to get, a bunch of, I can't remember what it was, probably $300-$400 worth of meat. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook it and then we're going to pull the smoker to the end of my driveway in my neighborhood and we're going to sell it to my neighbors. And she's looking at me like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, the only way for me to perfect the skill of barbecue is actually to barbecue. And with a smoker that large, I just couldn't see another way to use it without having a bunch of meat on it. So that's what we did. It was a cold April day. It was a Sunday. We pulled it to the end of my driveway and I just got some 3-compartment containers, made up a little menu, neighbors were driving by, smokers going and just kind of giving them menus and set up a table. And we sold out in probably like 3 hours. So that was kind of that aha moment maybe. And I was like, okay, well that was cool, that was fun, maybe we'll do it again, in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend was looking at me again like, well, I don't really want to waste my Sunday, but okay, if that's what you want to do. So we did it 2 weeks later, and we did twice as much product, and we sold out in half the time. All just kind of, everything was pre-done. I had it all in pans on the smoker. The smoker was just for the marketing. You get that smell in the air. People are driving by and they're like, well, what the heck's this? They've been smelling it for years. And now it was their chance to get it. And we didn't do anything out of control. I mean, we did pulled pork, we did ribs. I think we did grilled chicken. We weren't into brisket or anything that really took some skill, because again, I was just trying to learn. So then we started getting notes left in our mailbox and on our front door. Hey, when are you going to do it again? And, people started showing up with like lists of like, this is what I want to order. And I was like, holy crap. Okay. This is getting a little out of control. So talking to my girlfriend, we kind of I looked on eBay and I found the food trailer that we currently have. And it was up in upstate New York. And I just moved from Syracuse a handful of years prior. And my girlfriend has never been up there to meet my friends. So I was like, well, we can kind of go up there and take a look at this trailer, and I can introduce you to everybody and, show you where I used to live. So we went up there and took a little road trip and purchased it, towed it home. And it sat dormant in my driveway for 6 months because, I was trained by a hospitality company that sent me away to Chick-fil-A, sent me away to Yum Brands down in Dallas, sent me away to Tropical Smoothie, because we contracted those concepts on our campus. So, I really didn't do anything until, I knew it was 100% sound. And I think that's one of the big problems with, this food service restaurant industry, is that there are a lot of people out there that kind of jump into it saying, oh, well, my aunt or my uncle, says I make a great whatever. And, I can kind of put some money together to start something. It's like, well, if you haven't thought from A to Z twice and it's 100%, I don't care if it's food service or what it is, don't get into it. And, fortunately I had the background running a $11.5 million P&L, university food service, to where a little tiny food truck, for me, I think I had, when I bought the trailer, I bought the box truck and all the stuff to start, $28,000 into it. So for me, I said, okay, well, I can take that out of my bank account and I know I'll be able to at least make that money back, whether it takes me a year, 2 years, because the original plan was just to do it on the weekends, 1 weekend a month. I knew all the local brewery owners because of my homebrew club. So for me, I already had a place to set up. And, it started one Saturday a month. And then next thing you know, we're out there 2 Saturdays a month. And before you know it, we're out there every Saturday. And before you know it, I'm hiring a prep person because I'm working my full-time job. I'm coming home, prepping a couple hours every night, so for about 2 years, I worked 7 days straight, on my own Redwood Smoke Shack and, also for this other company. And at that point, I left the university and I became a food broker for Acosta Sales and Marketing. So I was a food broker for K-12 in the military for the state of Virginia. So I saw that side of the coin, which also helped me today because, once you learn distribution, it really helps you in the restaurant because you see a lot of the games that people try to play. So, I have a lot of background, fortunately, for people that I've worked for and with have got me to the point that we are here today. Um, so, Redwood Smoke Shack started as just that food trailer, just out there having fun because we were going to be at the breweries anyways. And we started winning, best food truck, and we started winning, doing these barbecue competitions and winning these. So we got in a couple magazines. So it was kind of like, okay, this is kind of neat. Where do I go from here? And I was not giving my full-time career and this business that I created, I was giving neither one of them 100%. So I had to kind of make a decision. And to me, the decision, it was hard but easy at the same time, because I was just looking at, okay, well, what am I bringing home at my normal job, making sure that I can still pay my bills? And can I, ask myself that real question, can I make that for myself? And the answer that I came up with was yes. So then when I figured that out, then I started to talk with a business consultant. So this gentleman that teaches tourism and hospitality for the university that I used to work for, I reached back out to him and I said, "Hey, Larry, I really want to. Not that I believe in business plans, because at that time I did not believe in a business plan.
Mm.
I thought business plans were stupid. I didn't see what the benefit was of one. But I reached out to Larry and I said, "Hey, I want you to do a business plan for me," because again, I was full time working and then doing this on the side. So I hired him. We came up with a business plan. We came up our pro formas, feasibility reports. I took that to the bank, and with what I was able to, because Redwood Smoke Shack, that account was not being touched. I was not utilizing that account to live. So I was able to take all that package to the bank and say, "Hey, this is what I have. You know, will you guys take a gamble on me?" And they came back and said, "Yeah, this is what we're able to do." So there was a little small hamburger hot dog place in Norfolk and Ghent, kind of the cool area. And the word on the street was that the owner was looking to sell. So I started that conversation with him, and he came back, and and I was like, that might really set up well for this Texas kind of barbecue place, because it has that serving counter, and that's kind of crucial to
Mhm.
Texas barbecue. Um, well, little did I know that he came back and he said, "Hey, I really like your concept, but I don't really think you'll make it here." So I don't know if, and in my mind, I started cussing him out, right? Of course.
Yeah.
Um, because I've already started to gain that following, but a food truck following is different than a brick and mortar, of course. So it took me, I want to say, 16 months of conversation with this gentleman, back and forth. The first few months it was once every couple of weeks. "Hey, I'm really interested. Can we start talking?" And it was all like dead ends. And then it was once a month, and then it was once every 3 months, and then I was looking around to other places, and I was ready to sign on a strip mall location, and this really nice part of Virginia Beach. And the owner of the strip mall was really going to bend over backwards for me because he really liked what I was doing. But I never saw my concept being a strip mall concept.
Yeah.
I needed the room, I needed someplace to put smokers, and they were going to put in hoods inside for me just for the smokers and all this other stuff. But so I reached out one more time to the owner of the property and I said, "Hey, you know, are you at all interested?" And he came back a couple hours later and he says, "Hey, I'm in South America at a yoga retreat." He said, "Let's talk when I get home on Monday." So I was like, okay, well, maybe he had the aha moment, there doing this yoga, because he owns two other really well known restaurants in the area. So
Yeah.
this hamburger hot dog joint wasn't really his moneymaker, but it was a place that he used it basically as his home base for his office,
Yeah.
and it paid the bills. And it's been around since 1969, so it's been around for a while. So he came back. We kind of struck up a deal. I moved forward with him. We renovated for 3 months. I hired my GM day one of the renovation. So for 3 months, I quit my job. For 3 months, we just basically daily helped the contractors renovate, did our own personal touches, and still operated the food truck, and had our grand opening. And then, I like to say that it's the rest is history, but 8 months later, COVID hit, and which I'm very fortunate that I was not open longer than 8 months, because I wasn't able to really, I guess, know my identity.
Mhm.
So I was able to pivot very quickly with COVID. Everybody around me has been open forever, and they're like, "Oh, well, this is like a 2 week vacation," because that's what we were being told, right?
Yeah.
Let's just shut down for 2 weeks. And I said, "Well, I don't have the funds to shut down for a day. So if it means that I have to go back underground in my food truck and go out, into neighborhoods, I need to pay the bills, because even if my doors are open here, I have a mortgage and things like that."
Yeah. Got overhead. Doesn't go
Yeah.
away.
So we never shut down. We redid the schedule where it was myself, my GM, my front of the house manager, and I think a utility worker. And which is hard for a barbecue restaurant, because my fire gets lit on Monday morning and doesn't go out till Saturday afternoon. It's all day, all night. So there's somebody that's got to be tending that fire. This is not, nothing
Mhm.
against Mission Barbecue and these Dickies and things like that, but this is not a large, oversized convection oven. These are actually wood fired, smokers, which is something different than this area has ever really known. So we're also introducing product to the area that was foreign. Brisket was not a thing around here. We're right near in North Carolina. Pork is it's pork country. So we had to educate, and that's kind of been my building philosophy ever since day one. Is I'm here to educate people, and that's why we do a lot of social media, and we do a lot of lives where I invite the viewers into our back door, and I want them to see what we go through every day just to make that brisket or that pulled pork sandwich. Um, and because I didn't know what it took when I was just a backyard guy. I was like, "Oh, I'll throw 3, 4 hours of smoke on it and finish in my oven, and it's the best damn thing I ever had." Yeah, that's not the case. You hear that all the time. "Oh yeah, the best brisket I ever had was the one I made." Well,
Yeah.
of course, but I think you're a little partial. Um, so COVID struck, and it kind of just uprooted everybody. But for me, we had to do was just increase more our orders for our to goes. We took away our trays, and we just had to order more takeout boxes and things like that. Um, and we were set up with that serving line almost, they call it the Chipotle way, but it's really Subway kind of style, cafeteria style. So we already had a sneeze guard in between us and the customer. So we weren't, that 6 feet wasn't really a thing for us. We just kind of put some flames on the floor where our logo is a flame, where the 6 foot, and we just we showed the public what we were doing to go above and beyond to keep them safe. And that was kind of I think that's a huge part of COVID when it started, is that the normal public just wanted to feel safe because nobody knew what the heck COVID was.
Yeah.
And I think to this day, they still want to know that you're being safe. And that's why I invite people into my backyard. I will show you our prep area. I will show you our walk-ins. Because I was also trained by, in a university where I was getting inspected, every week, because we're doing thousands and thousands of meals. So, a lot of these protocols were just normal practice to me, where, once you open up a independent restaurant, people start to cut corners and, "Oh, well, I'm not going to spend money on day dots, and I'm not going to spend money on, test strips," and then whatever it might be. That's just that's all I know, and I'm real thankful for learning Chick-fil-A, because Chick-fil-A is just, they're just geniuses, and what they're doing right now, how they're taking the drive-through experience, and they're making it personal. They're still putting a personal touch on a drive-through experience.
Yep.
It's genius. It really is. They're getting rid of their dining room. I mean, and they still have a person outside that you're communicating with, and
Yep.
that's I've learned. I want to say I've learned from the best. I've had some bosses that at the time I was cussing them out every day. I mean, 3-4 hour inspections, me getting my hands and knees with suits on, and behind fryers, and pointing out the what's wrong and how we have to fix it. It just became second nature to me. And I try to pass that along to my staff and my managers on a daily. And then also knowing the back of the office part, the administrative part, where P&Ls and food costs and inventory and labor,
Mhm.
your pro formas, and knowing, I mean, you have to have forecasts, all things that in barbecue is kind of hard because we are so far ahead. We're trimming today for a Wednesday or Thursday service. So if like with the storm that just rolled through last week, I had to make the call on Thursday to be shut down on Saturday because I would have to be prepping that far in advance.
Yep.
So it's a pretty expensive decision that you got to make. But again, I'm not going to, if I wouldn't have my wife driving something like that, I'm not going to have my team. And I've worked for people that just didn't care. And that's something with an independent restaurant, you have to care. It's about your team. It's about your customers. Everybody, I want everybody to feel as if they're part of the Redwood family. Um, so, we were just grinding daily. I mean, we're making our numbers. We were pretty good on our projections, to the point where I don't want to say I got bored, but I started building that team around me to where my day to day wasn't filled with the manual labor anymore. So I'm like, okay, well now I have time. What do I do? And that's where the idea of the second location came into play. We still have the food truck and we were operating it. So I said, okay, well, if I have a second location, I'm going to take that food truck philosophy where we have a commissary and we're prepping everything out of a commissary, and we basically load it up and we go and we sell it. And when we're gone, or when we're done, we go home. So I kind of took that philosophy, and that's where the Virginia Beach location kind of stemmed from. It's 1,400 square feet. It's a smaller footprint, which our location in Norfolk is only 1,450 square foot, but a majority of it's kitchen rather than dining.
Mhm.
Where Virginia Beach, all of it's dining and there's no kitchen. So the kitchen, the working space there is set up identically to my serving line in Norfolk. So I did that on purpose too. So knowing that staffing is a problem, if I need to take a staff member from Norfolk and push them to Virginia Beach, there's no difference. They know exactly that warmer does this. This is the way we played up here. There's nothing different. So I call it my kind of beta test, my express unit, but the
Mhm.
menu is exactly the same. Every day, we utilize our Norfolk location, and all we do is we just project what we're going to sell in Virginia Beach, and we load up our Sprinter van. It's all wrapped and logoed every morning with fresh product, and it gets pushed down there. And we have one shift of employees. We're open 11 to 6, so I'm able to run the whole operation with 4 individuals. So everybody's full time, and when we're sold out, we're sold out. Now, we do half the amount of business that we do in our Norfolk location, but my idea was not that I had to make it my cash cow. My idea was to test an idea of central kitchen and then push out to these smaller express units, kind of again, like Subway does. I mean, Subway is not very profitable in each individual location. But if you speak with an owner of Subway, they may have 5 to 10 locations. So if you're profiting, $2,000, let's just say in a week, well, times that by 10, and that's how they're making their money. So that was kind of my idea. And it's weird because a couple months into this experiment, I call it, I started kind of realizing maybe that I got into this just to be the neighborhood barbecue joint, right? And but I'm like, okay, well, I'm in it, so now I need to keep executing this plan, and that's kind of what we're doing. So this year, 2022, I'm going to I'm in talks with a brewery to house our food trailer there permanently. And what we'll do is we will open on the days that are your money making days: Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And because the food truck's already paid for, so why get another, you know over some more overhead for rent and utilities when I can just set that food truck there, don't move it, and then operate it as a third location.
Yep.
So we're going to test that concept this year, and hopefully, God willing, that I can keep building a solid team, because it's all about the team, especially with barbecue, because there's so much prep and there's so much back end work. What I used to be able to do myself, I need qualified, uh, knowledgeable people, and it's hard in Virginia to find those people that know Texas barbecue. We're not in Texas. So I've been having to, we start everybody basically from scratch, and you basically have to build them up, which is good, because then you can train them your way. But I need people that are also as dedicated as I am to my brand, and that's real hard to find. Everybody says you're never going to find anybody that cares about your business like you, and I believe it. But if you agree with that statement and you just accept it, then you're never going to find that person. And you just need to find the team is the most important thing. And I've been very fortunate. We're a profitable business. We've been able to open up a second location during COVID. We still win awards. We still are in magazines, on cover of magazines. We just won best sausage in Virginia. We make our own sausage in house. So there's things like that if you just settle, you'll never get to that point.
Yeah.
And we just constantly are trying to evolve.
Hey, I'm curious, and thank you for sharing all that. I'm curious about the options. You got the express, you got the smaller footprint counter service location in Virginia Beach that where you're commissarying in, the majority of the foods. You got the food truck that you're going to experiment with, at the brewery. Which one of those carries higher, I guess, operating cost, or are they?
Well, of course, the brick and mortar is always going to carry the higher operating costs. I back in 2017 when I bought the food truck and went all in, I guess quote unquote all in, for $28,000.
Yeah.
I knew that I could, even just doing it one Saturday a month, I would recoup. My ROI would be recouped after a year. So I wasn't really too worried about it. So for me, I'm trying to think of, okay, where's my third location going to be? And I'm, looking at this food truck every day that I'm like, well, damn, there it is. There it is. And it's just sitting there and it's making me no money. It's not costing me any money, but it's not making me any. So, my investment, moving forward, once we get it out there, I mean, what am I buying? Propane, gas for my generator, and then labor for the, 2 to 3 bodies that are going to be there. Yeah. I'm not, utilizing an additional smoker. I'm piggybacking off what I currently have. We may have to alter our cook schedules so we can fit, a little bit more on, but it's not, again, I'm not looking for this thing to be, a multi-million-dollar food truck. I'm looking at, how do I generate, $5,000 to $6,000 extra a week? Because with zero overhead, that $5,000 to $6,000 really adds up.
Yeah, no doubt. And the trade-off there with the brick and mortar, I guess, is you got more hours of operation in the brick and mortar and can probably drive more revenue total.
We do, but what
Really?
COVID also did for me is we were open 6 days. We were open Tuesday through Sunday when we first opened. Sunday being a shorter day, so it was really 5.5 days. That way I had a day to do my inventory, and I also had a day to make a little bit of money while I was there doing inventory. I could still have the business running. So when COVID hit, we kind of got rid of Sunday. So we still are Tuesday through Saturday. And what we found is we just kind of pushed the business from Sunday to other days. And year after year, we're, on average 25% up in sales each year that we've been open. So that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the way that you're running kind of a diversified set of stores for that second and third location, and you can watch them and test them and kind of see which way you want to go in the future. And I'm guessing you could go either way. You can drop trailers or trucks into additional locations pretty quickly and relatively inexpensively. So as you ramp up, I think you had a goal in mind of maybe how many truck locations you might want
Well,
to have.
yeah, my goal is well, it was when I moved that forward the second location, my goal was to have 5 locations like that within 3 years. That was my goal. Because I told myself when I started this that I was giving myself 5 years, and at 5 years I was going to assess where I'm at. So, I was 2 years in, so I had 3 more years. So that's why I gave myself that 3-year goal. So,
Yeah.
and I look back on it now, and I don't really set goals about numbers anymore, because I'm valuing not so much the dollar. I'm valuing relationships. I'm valuing partnerships, and I'm trying to be here for the long haul. And without that strong foundation, and if all you care about is the dollar, like I tell people, I'm care about people walking in my door. I don't really care about what they spend. I know the money's there with that person. I just have to convince them to spend it with me. I just got to get them in the door. And we do a lot. We do a lot of marketing. I employ a lot of upper management. Not only do I have myself, I have my GM/production manager at my Norfolk location. I have my kitchen manager there who heads up all my prep. I have my manager down in my VB store. And then I also, probably when we opened up the Virginia Beach store, I hired on a director of operations, because I can't be everywhere at one time. I'm still the one I get up and I'm at the restaurant every day at 5 a.m. I have a pit guy now, but that doesn't mean that I don't 100% trust people. I know that if I need to be there at 5 a.m., because that's when, let's just say, the butts have to be wrapped, the ribs and chicken got to go on to make sure that we open up at 11. I know I'll be there at 5 a.m., even if I have somebody on the schedule that's my pit guy at 5 a.m. So, I'm still there at 5 a.m. And, I might work till 3 o'clock. I might work till 6 o'clock that night, depending on where I have to be. So, the goal is still to have 5, 6 locations. The goal is still to build out a larger commissary. We started bottling one of our house barbecue sauce. We had that bottled a few months back, and we're selling that in the store and packages and our rubs and all that kind of stuff. So my goal is to build out a larger commissary to where our Norfolk location would still even feed off from that commissary. But the beauty of it is the owner of my building also owns all that property with the building right behind it. That's a larger warehouse. So, the talks have been with him from day one about, hey, what would it take to purchase this whole thing? So, that's still the goal, but, I won't do anything until I'm 125% sure that that's what I want to do, and it will be successful. We introduced the trays back in service about a month ago. So that was an exciting day, because with barbecue, and we mirror all our barbecue off the big, I say the big guys in Texas, all these top 50 guys. So, the visual aspect is very important to me. So to be able to put that on trays again was a big deal to me. And it's weird to say that just having trays back in is a big deal, but it also saves now a lot on these boxes because we're using these number ones and number threes to go boxes, not styrofoam. And you're looking at, 20 cents a box up to 27 cents a box. And, every meal might have 2 boxes and 3 deli containers. And, we do logoed lids, we got logoed
Yeah.
deli paper, we got logoed bags. So, every person that dines in now, all I have to give them is a 1 cent piece of deli paper on a quarter sheet pan. And, the rest of it is not very costly. A half-pound boat doesn't really cost you that much.
Yeah.
A fraction of what an 8-ounce deli container costs. So, when you go back and you're looking at, what your profit margins are and where you're losing this money, COVID really screwed us because all of your prices have gone up. Not just proteins. I mean, our proteins are up 85%. I read these articles of, oh yeah, inflation 7.1%, 8.4%. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, my chicken's up, 150%.
Yeah.
All my proteins are through the roof, and not only proteins, but all your packaging. So yeah, it's all those small wins right now. And then knowing what your numbers are, that's a big key to it, is to know what your food cost is, to know what your trim yield is, to know what your cook loss is. These are things that, without actually doing, the weights and you don't know. People are just guessing, and you can't run a business. And I don't care if it's food, I don't care what your business is. You need to know your numbers. You have to. I love just kind of winging, like, oh, we got a special today. What are we going to charge? Oh, $12.50. That's fun, right? But you know what? Let me spend 3 minutes and figure out what my cost is, because if I'm going to sell 50 of them today, I at least want to know that I'm not losing money. I mean, there are some things that we break even on, but that is by design. It's that loss leader, beef ribs, extremely expensive product for me. And, I got to pass that along to the customer, but I don't make money on my beef ribs. But again, I do beef ribs only on Saturdays, and it's only till sellout. So they might only last 2 hours, but it's the wow factor. I can go to my social media pages and I could post these pictures and I can get people saying, oh, I'm going there for a beef rib. Well, if you don't get there early, that beef rib's going to be gone. Sorry to say that, but you'll still buy something.
Yeah.
So, it's an interesting, it keeps you thinking every second of the day. I'll tell you that much. Food service definitely keeps you on your feet.
Well, it sounds like you got it under control, and well on your way to reaching those goals that you set. From this journey that you've been on now for several years. It really does sound like you kind of got it figured out, and like you said, you got to be in control of those numbers. You got to know what they are, and got to think through these things, and how you gonna present it to your customers, and drive revenues and profits and all that good stuff. So, hey, let me ask you: Are you struggling with staffing at all, or have you been able to keep up pretty much with what you need?
It's funny you say that, because if you were to ask me that a month and a half ago, I would have said, yes, we can't find anybody to fill out an application. I don't know what happened, but so our minimum wage just went up here probably a month ago. After it went up, we were getting, I'm getting 5-10 applicants a day walking through our door. And these are, I'm finding qualified people too, which is very, very surprising. So I don't know, I was a big, oh my God, how am I, minimum wage, this is going to be tough. Now we're not, most of our staff is well above the minimum wage. I'm a firm believer in you get what you pay for. And, I will pay for good people. But it's weird. I've definitely seen a shift in this past month. The last time we put out, hey, we're hiring, another prep person or another dishwasher, whatever it might be. It just opened up the floodgates. And I don't know if it's because we've been around long enough now, or if, a lot of these people that work for us now were regular customers. So they kind of know what our philosophy is and our brand is, and they enjoy it. They might be there 2, 3 times a week. So they're like, hey, why don't I pull just some part-time hours here? So we've been fortunate. We're getting some more college age kids now putting in applications, which we didn't have for a while. So I don't know if it's because we've been around for a couple of years that we're a little bit more fortunate, or maybe people actually do the research before they go and they put applications in, and they're like, hey, you know what, I did the research on this business, and it looks like a business that I actually want to work for or work with,
Mhm.
because I try to make it a fun atmosphere. If I got to be there 12, 14 hours a day, I want to make sure everybody there has fun. And fortunately, we're a busy location, so there's not a whole heck of a lot of standing around doing nothing. And I find that the people that actually want to work, they don't like to stand around and do nothing.
Nope.
So, they enjoy that the customers enjoy it. And the interaction, it's amazing for me to sit back and watch, because I'm like, if I jump in and try to help right now, I'm the one that slows them down. Like, they're a well-oiled machine. Like, they're all feet, because it's not one person per one customer. It's 5 people working on one customer from start to finish. And we can get you in and out our door when you finally get to our cutting board to paying in less than 3 minutes. So
Nice.
that's pretty impressive, considering that Chick-fil-A is like 3:47, I think, from when you order to when you get your food. So it's week after week, and that's something that I follow through our point of sale system, um, because I want to make sure we're giving the service, but we're also very, very speedy at the same time, because everything's done right in front of you. If you say, "Hey, I want a half pound of brisket," we're pulling out that brisket. We're asking you, "You want lean and moist?" We're giving you a sample. Have you tried this before? Have you been here? We employ a bunch of different techniques to identify the first time customer. I watch a lot of I listen to a lot of podcasts. I watch a lot of YouTube, and we don't have the luxury like a sit down restaurant to where we can identify, and we have a server that can pick your brain and over an hour period. So when you come in, we have ways to know, like, hey, okay, this person hasn't been here before, so we mark their tray with a pink token now. So when they get to the register, we have cards that we made up with a nice, it's a dessert card. It's a banana pudding. It's called banana masu. But on the front, it's a free, thanking them for their visit, free banana masu on the second time they come back. And on the flip side of that, it's a QR code that they can leave a review. So we're identifying that first time customer, everybody along that path. It might be 20 foot long from the cutter to the cashier, but you're dealing with 4 to 5 different employees. Well, everybody now knows that pink token, that customer is a first time customer. So everybody knows to go above and beyond, even if it's only for 15, 20 seconds. They know, oh, have you tried our mac and cheese before? We already know the answer is no, you haven't been there before. So, oh, here's a sample. And, oh, okay, yeah, I want to try that. And then you can suggestive sell and upsell. And did you know this? And then you can, getting the
Mhm.
staff trained to educate too. Do you know that our collards take 4 hours? Do you know that we have this? Do you know that, everything's done out back and you can go take a tour of our pits? So getting everybody on that page to give that customer an exceptional experience is the key. And it's cool because, like I said, brisket was not something that people knew 5 years ago around here. So when I get a customer that comes in and I remember them from the food truck, and they walk up to my cutting board, they're like, I want a half pound fatty, this, that, the other deal. You know that you train that customer
Yeah.
to be the expert. So when they go somewhere else, they are also doing that same thing. And it's sad because around here, a lot of the barbecue places aren't like that. So I guess that's kind of what sets us apart.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very, very great. I mean, great idea, and it's always awesome if you can train your customers, and they're asking for these kind of things at other places, and people are like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know,
Yep.
we got a barbecue sandwich.
Yep. And marketing's a huge thing too, Jeff. I mean, a lot of these business owners right now are just, if they're struggling to keep their head above water or to pay payroll or pay utilities, you know, they're like, well, I can't, I don't have the money for marketing. Well, how, you know, in January when it's the coldest and the slowest of months, how do you not afford to put some money into marketing to get that body back in your door? You know, we do a red envelope thing in the month of December. So our month of December this year, we had 26 different discount line items, 26 in 1 month. From, you know, we partner with CHKD, which is the Children's Hospital here. So we gave them a check for $2,000 January 1. But we also, during the whole month, we give out this red envelope for every customer. And inside the envelope is, you know, some sort of discount from 15% all the way up to free. And you can utilize it from January to February. Well, last year, we started it 2 years ago. And again, my business consultant told me about this. And I said, I don't like to give away money, first off. And I don't really believe that this is going to work. Who the hell is going to carry around a red envelope for a month to bring it back in to get a discount? Well, we had a 37% return rate in January of that red envelope program. That's huge when it comes to marketing.
Yeah.
So now we gave out 4,000 of those in the month of December this year. We actually ran out like 3 days before the end of the month, and our customers love it. I mean, there's people that had 12 of them, so they came 12 times in the month of December because every transaction you get one. So it's like that instant data that you're like, okay, this is actually working. You know, I know I have to give something away, but now that person's bringing a friend, and that friend sees that that person just got 50% off, and anything from 50% off and up, we make a big deal of it. Of course, we just start yelling, and, you know, in the restaurant or whatever. Now, in my head, every time I hear, you know, my customer or my employees start to yell, I'm like, well, there's money I just gave away.
Yeah.
But
you cringe on the inside.
you see the excitement on the people's faces, because it's like they're almost gambling, right? They hand us the envelope and we open it, and we just, you know, it's a fun interaction.
Yeah.
But it drives the people through your door in the 2 months that are your slower months. And if you're not, you know, we do radio ads, and, you know, people think old school marketing is dead. You know, we do mailers. Now, I'm not a fan of mailers, and I really think I'm probably done with the mailers. But to gain awareness in your new markets, you have to hit people in those old school ways, because not everybody's on social media. You know, I have a social media company that does our social media, and we post every single day. We do reels, we do stories, we do the lives. I mean, a couple of our reels got over 1 million views just recently. And that's cool, because now you just never know where those people, I mean, this might be somebody from California that when they come to the East Coast, they come check you out. And we get people that travel 5-6 hours, and they're like, hey, we took this trip just to try your food because we've been following you on social media. So, you know, you really have to take all these marketing avenues and these different things, and pick 5 or 6 of them, and do all of them, because you never know. You know, I joke, and I'm like, it's like I'm throwing just darts at the wall and not really knowing which one's going to stick, because you never do know. You know, is it, I'm sitting at a stoplight and the person hears me on the radio, because it's me that records the, you know, the ad, because I'm also doing all the live, so people know who I am. And are they looking over and seeing my Mercedes van with, you know, a big platter of meat on the side? They hear my ad on the same time. They go on our website. They see our food. You know, which one is it? I can't tell you which one is working. All I can tell you is one of them is working. Something's working. We're still getting people through the door. I mean, we had 2 pillars, you know, quality ingredient, quality customer service. That's really, you know, other than that, you shouldn't need anything else. But that's, you know, you got to get in front of these people. Organic marketing, organic growth is great, but I'm very impatient. I want it yesterday. I don't want it 10 weeks from now. So, this marketing just is an accelerant to that. So,
Absolutely. Hey, are you doing much on, are you doing any online ordering yet?
we
I think
are,
you're
yeah,
probably
we
on the
do.
website. Okay.
That was a tough sell for me too, because again, with barbecue, we try so hard to get people in our door because I want you to see us doing it in front of
Yeah.
you. We're very visual, but let's face it, the way of the world is online. So yes, we do 3 different platforms. We do Uber Eats, we do Grubhub, and we do DoorDash. It's all integrated through our point of sale, which is Toast. We also have Toast online, so they go to our website, and of course you're trying to push them there. So
Yeah.
we do also, we got things that we had made that we staple on every bag, $5 off if you go to our website rather than going to these DoorDash or third party. But yes, we do all that stuff, and with the weather being is cold and crappy as it's been, and COVID, with the spikes of COVID, our Norfolk location is averaging right around that 35-36% is coming. The sales are coming in through the online.
Wow.
So, that has been something. And then you have to train the person, we call them the expediter, but you got to really put some training in the person that's assembling these online things. Because if your order is messed up, you're not going to go back to that restaurant again. So, that's, we take it very serious when a customer comes in front of us, and, but same thing, we're very, very detailed in our online ordering, where they can ask for lean or moist. They can ask for this, they can ask for that, because I want them to have that same experience, even though they're not leaving their house.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Well, that was amazing, and a lot of information. I've been taking notes as we went, and I'm sure our listeners who are out there have also gained a lot of great value from the different things that you've talked about. It's a great story. It's very inspirational that you've been able to kind of go from a full-time, even though it's a food service job, to be able to go from a full-time job to entrepreneur of now multiple restaurant locations, and you're having success. So I mean, what more could you ask for, right?
yeah, well, have fun. I think that's really what you can't lose sight of, right? If you Everybody says if you have fun at your job, you're never working a day in your life. And
Yeah.
everybody laughs at it, and oh yeah, that'd be great. But I'll tell you, I mean, we bust our ass. Everybody that works for me, we bust our ass. But you still have fun doing it, and it doesn't feel like work. It really doesn't.
That's amazing. Well, Bob, it's it's a great story, and I and our listeners, I'm appreciate you taking the time to come on. I looked down at my clock and I realized that I've taken a little longer than I had promised, so I apologize.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And
But,
once you start telling stories and talking business, I mean, you can talk for
hours,
days,
right?
right?
Yeah. All we need is a little pulled pork in front of us, and we'd be set.
That's right. That's right.
But hell, it's Monday, so officially a day off for you. But and for a lot of our restaurateurs out there, but as we all know, there's never a day off. So I'm sure you got plenty on your plate. But for all our listeners, I just want to reiterate that first, your website is www.redwoodsmokeshack.com. So make sure that you guys go out there and check it out. It's got a great looking website, great pictures, great everything, and you can place online orders. From there you can go visit them. You'll see their locations in Norfolk and Virginia Beach. We want to make sure that anybody in that area is supporting you guys and continues to support you and helping you be successful and grow. Again, it's Bob Roberts with Redwood Smoke Shack. Thank you so much for being on today, Bob. I appreciate it.
No problem, Jeff. I really appreciate it, and keep up the good work. And it's little podcasts like this that really, those little tips and tricks. You never know which small one might, they might pick up from you that might help them tomorrow.
Exactly.
So
And
keep up the good work.
thank you. And we count on people like you to support it. And so thank you for your time. Thank you to our listeners for taking time to listen to Bob and myself talk about Redwood Smoke Shack. Please go and support them. And again, hope you all have a great Monday. And we look forward to talking to you on our next podcast.